Hi, Phanessa here. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to crochet this mask. This is an adult size. It is adjustable by chaining more or less stitches to get the desired length. You can adjust by working more or less chains in your foundation and then making more or less rows as you go up. So I am not an expert in sewing, but I did get a couple of requests for instructions on how to put a lining inside as well. I'm going to also demonstrate how to crochet a hair tie instead of crocheting a loop, if that's what you would like. Just make sure you have 2 hair ties if you're going to use hair ties instead of the chain stitches. For materials, I use 100% cotton yarn. This is Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton. It's their cotton version of the I Love This yarn, and I like this yarn because it's 100% cotton and it's really soft. So this one is Paris in Summer. Okay, just a quick note before we get started. These do not replace your N95 masks. The CDC recommends using fabric masks to go out into the public. So they have tons of information. They have a few DIYs on their website at cdc.gov. So I used a smaller than recommended hook size just to get a little tighter tension. This is US 7, 4.5 millimeters. You'll need a pair of scissors, tapestry needle, tape measure would be good. And then for the lining, I have some scrap fabric that I found. You'll need some pins, some thread, and a sewing needle. And if you plan to use hair ties instead of the chain stitches, you'll need 2 of those. All right, let's get started. Okay, starting with a slip knot. You're going to chain the length that you want. So I have 6 stitches here for these slip stitches, 6 here, 23 in the middle. Started with 35 stitches. So I chained 36. You can chain until you get the desired length. To customize this to your own measurements, so we start here. There are 6 slip stitches on either side, so that would, if you want to change that, that's fine. And then you need an odd number of stitches in the middle, and that's because we're going to increase right in the middle of the mask. So 23 in the middle. So you can grab a few stitch markers if you like to mark the 6 stitches here, the 6 stitches here, and then the middle stitch. Okay, so I have 36 chain stitches. Starting with the second chain from the hook, here's the first, there's the second. You want to insert your hook into the back side, so the humps of your chain stitches. And we're going to work 1 slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So we're skipping the first chain. Into the second chain, you want to insert your hook and then yarn over, pull through the chain stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. So I recommend working your slip stitches loosely. That's because they do get pretty tight and you won't be able to work into them as easily if they're tight. So into the next chain stitch right through the hump, work another slip stitch. So that's 2 slip stitches. You want to work a total of 6. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the next 25 chain stitches, you're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the next 25 stitches. So insert your hook into the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. insert your hook into the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So if you don't want to count, just make sure that you leave 6 chain stitches for your slip stitches for the other side. So I have 6 chain stitches left. I'm going to work slip stitches in the last 6 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to place a stitch marker here on the 6th stitch and then count 6 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if you're following this exact pattern, place a marker on the middle stitch, which is the 12th stitch from either side. So count 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm placing that to mark my middle stitch. Okay, so this is your wrong side. Okay, row 2. This is going to be the right side of your work. Chain 1 and turn. So now for the remaining of the pattern, we're going to work into the back loops. So that gives it the ribbing effect. So in traditional crochet, you usually work through, in a regular crochet stitch, you work through both of these loops. This one here is the front loop. This one is the back loop. Be careful not to work into this one, which is your chain 1. So inserting your hook into the back loops. Okay, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. So we're going to work a total of 6 slip stitches going through the back loop. So here's the back loop, yarn over, pull through, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then this is my 6th stitch that I marked here. So after this stitch I should have 6, and then we're going to start working single crochets until the stitch before the marker. If you're customizing, just go ahead and work your single crochets through back loops until the stitch before the middle stitch. So into the back loop of the next stitch, 1 single crochet, into the next back loop, and every back loop until the stitch before the middle stitch. In this pattern, it's 10 single crochets through back loop. Okay, so that's my 10th stitch. I have one more before the stitch marker. I'm going to work 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Okay, work 2 single crochets in the back loops into that next stitch. Just 1 single crochet in the next through the back loop, and then 2 single crochets in the next back loop, 1 and 2. Now you work 10 single crochets through back loops until the marker, or however many you have until the marker, which we will then start with these slip stitches. So 1, So here are my last 6 stitches. We're going to work 1 slip stitch through the back loop into each of the last 6 stitches. That's 2. Okay, so here's my 6th slip stitch. I forgot to mention that if you need to place a marker on the right side of your work just to help you remember which side is which, you can just place a stitch marker on the right side, chain 1 and turn. So for the wrong side, you're just going to slip stitch 6 stitches through the back loop and then 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across through the back loop until the last 6 stitches, and then you'll work the slip stitches through back loops into the last 6 stitches. So there are no increases or decreases on the wrong side. Again, we're working just in the back loops. Work 6 slip stitches through the back loops. I've removed my markers because I'm not a huge fan of them, so you can keep them on there if you like. Now my single crochets. Remember, you increase 2 stitches on the other side and then work your slip stitches through back loops on the other end. Okay, row 4, chain 1 and turn. Again, we're working just in the back loops. Work 6 slip stitches through the back loops. Okay, so I placed the marker back on here for you to see. So you want to work 1 single crochet through the back loop until the stitch before the center stitch. If you're following along, that would be 11 single crochets and then an increase. Okay, 1 stitch before the marker, I'm going to work 2 single crochets through back loop, 1 single crochet into the center stitch, 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet through back loop all the way to until the last 6 stitches. Okay, last 6 stitches, we're going to work slip stitches through the back loop. Make sure you count your stitches. The last stitch is usually a little tricky to get into. Okay, row 5, chain 1 and turn. Again, this is the wrong side, so we're working through back loops in every stitch, 6 slip stitches through back loop, 1 single crochet in back loops all the way across in every stitch until the last 6 slip stitches, then 1 slip stitch through back loop all the way across. So I've moved my center stitch marker up as I work. So row 6, chain 1 and turn. So we're going to work 2 more increases on the sides of the center stitch. So 1 slip stitch in the first 6 stitches in each of the next 6 stitches. Again, we're working through back loops only. Now you work 12 single crochets through back loop, or as many as you have until the stitch before the center stitch. Okay, we're going to increase before the center stitch, working 2 single crochets into that 1 stitch. Work 1 single crochet in the next, which is the center stitch. You can move your marker at this time if you like. And then 2 single crochets in the next. Now we're working 1 single crochet, and again through back loops for the next 12 stitches, or before the last 6 stitches. Slip stitch in each of the next slip stitches. There should be 6 of them, or whatever number you chose to have. Row 7, chain 1 and turn. Work 6 slip stitches through back loop. This is the wrong side, so you're just going to work 1 single crochet through back loop all the way across to the last 6 stitches. Okay, and then 6 slip stitches in the last 6 stitches here. Chain 1 and turn. Row 8, we're going to work another increase row. Work your first 6 slip stitches through the back loops. Okay, so I am on the right side, so what I'm going to do now is 1 single crochet through back loop all the way across until the stitch before the center stitch. So I'm at the stitch before the center stitch. I'm going to work 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the next, and then 1 single crochet all the way to these slip stitches. So the last 6 stitches will be slip stitches through the back loop. Chain 1 and turn. Row 9, this is the wrong side, so we're not going to work any increases. Okay, so you're just going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch after you work your 6 slip stitches, working through the back loops until your last 6 stitches. Last single crochet. Now I'll work my slip stitches in the next 6 stitches. So keep in mind, if you do keep increasing, that when you decide to stop and start your decrease back to the other side, it should be about half the width that you want. If you're going to continue increasing, just know that this width here is going to be half of your mask. So each of these ridges are 2 rows, 1, 2, 3, so about that much remained the same. And then this was the increase, and then that was the decrease. So just keep that in mind if you're adjusting it for a particular size. Okay, so you're going to repeat row 9, working just the 6 slip stitches, the single crochets all the way across without increasing, and the 6 slip stitches at the end. So you're going to repeat row 9 6 more times. So you'll end after row 15, and then we start decreasing in row 16. Okay, I've completed row 15. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now for row 16, we're going to start decreasing. So I moved my marker up to the current row for the center stitch. With the decrease, you're going to stop 2 stitches from the center stitch, and then we're going to work single crochet 2 together over those 2 stitches to decrease, and then we're going to just work 1 single crochet, and then we're working another decrease on this side. So work your slip stitches through back loops. Okay, now I'm going to work single crochet stitches through the back loops until the second stitch from the center stitch. Okay, now over these 2 stitches, we're going to work a single crochet 2 together through the back loops. So insert your hook into the next stitch through the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. Without completing the single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that is a single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet in the center stitch through the back loop, and then we're going to work another single crochet 2 together over these 2 stitches. So insert your hook into the next stitch through the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch through the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to continue down this direction, working single crochets through back loops until the last 6 stitches. Okay, 6 slip stitches through the back loops to the end. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so the wrong side is going to be the same. Just your slip stitches, no increases all the way across, and then your slip stitches on this side. Okay, so I've completed row 17. Okay, the repeat is going to be rows 16 and 17. You're going to start on the right side of your work, 6 slip stitches through back loops. You're going to work 1 single crochet through back loops all the way until 2 stitches before the center stitch here, and then you're going to work single crochet 2 together over these 2 stitches, 1 single crochet through back loop for the center stitch, single crochet 2 together for the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet through back loops all the way to the slip stitches, the last 6 stitches, and then slip stitch through back loops all the way to the end. Okay, on the wrong side, again everything is worked through the back loops. Are you tired of hearing me say back loops? So 6 slip stitches, single crochet through back loops all the way across, and then 6 slip stitches. So repeat that 3 more times and you'll end after row 23. Again, you should end with the same amount of stitches as you started with. I'll go ahead and work 1 more decrease row, chain 1 and turn. I'm on the right side of the work. This is my row 18. 6 slip stitches through back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you're going to single crochet through back loops until the 2 stitches before the center stitch. Okay, in the 2 stitches before the center stitch, you're going to work a single crochet 2 together through back loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3. 1 single crochet in the center stitch through the back loop, and then another single crochet 2 together. Insert your hook into the next stitch through the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the next stitch through the back loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3. 1 single crochet through back loops until the last 6 stitches. Okay, 1 slip stitch through the back loop in each of the last 6 stitches. So I completed my last row, row 23. So I have the same amount of stitches that I did when I first started. So 23 in the middle, 6 on either side. 23 here, 6 on each side. So now we're going to make the ear strap. I just chained a number of stitches that fit around my ears, and it was 17 stitches. And then into the very first stitch here in the corner, I'm going to work a slip stitch. I want to insert my hook so that I catch more than 1 loop. Okay, just so that it's more secure. And then I'm going to work a slip stitch. So before you fasten off, you can place this on your ear to see how comfortable it is. Okay, you can even fasten on and work this side and see how the fit is. So I'm going to grab the tail and feed it through the loop and tighten it. You want to make sure you secure it very well, so tie it off in several places when you're weaving it in. Okay, for this side you want to fasten on your yarn, so just leave a tail so you can weave in the ends and secure the strap. So on the very edge right here, you want to insert your hook into that last stitch. Place your yarn on your hook, pull it through. Okay, so I'm going to chain 17 and then work a slip stitch on the other end. Okay, over here, work a slip stitch. Yarn over and pull through. And then you want to weave in your ends. So I'm going to take this apart and show you how to crochet a hair tie on here if that's what you want to attach. Okay, so I'm going to attach the hair tie along the edge here. So if you pull this apart, you can see this row here with the V's. Okay, and then there's the row down here, which are the V's on this side. So we're going to be inserting our hook in between these ridges and making sure you catch more than one loop of yarn. That way it'll be more secure. Okay, so you don't want to insert through just one loop. If you have to go further down, so you can grab more than one loop. Okay, so I'm going to insert the hook into my first stitch. Okay, so right between this V and this row here, I'm going to insert my hook, making sure I don't go through just one loop. Grab my hair tie and place it on my hook. Make sure your working yarn is tight and then yarn over and then pull it through. Make sure you catch the hair tie. Okay, now yarn over and pull through 2. So we're just working single crochet stitches across. So between these 2 ridges here, okay, you're going to insert your hook and then make sure you catch your hair tie. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Again, I like to tug on it so it's tight. Yarn over and pull through 2. Into the next space there, catching your hair tie, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that across the side of my mask. You want to make sure you catch the hair tie into your work. Black is the only color I have, so it's not ideal, but it works. Okay, my last stitch will go through here, catching the hair tie, and work your single crochet. Okay, so that would go around your ear. You just want to fasten off and weave in your ends, and then repeat for the other side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is trace around my piece. I'm going to stretch it as much as I can and then just trace around to get a template. Then I'm going to cut Okay, so this is one way you can cut your fabric, or you could just place your piece directly on the fabric and trace it that way. Okay, so here I have cotton and I'm going to use 2 layers. So you want to make sure that your fabric is pre-washed. So if you want 2 layers of lining, you're going to need 4 pieces. So you can cut out your piece like this, or you could just place this and trace it on here. Okay, so that's the other way to do that. And then I'm going to cut that out. And what I'm going to do now is sew around the edges with about 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Sew around the edges, leaving about 2 inches so that you can turn it inside out. So sew around with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And the reason why I left the opening on this curved part is so that it'll be less visible when we sew these 2 pieces together. Okay, so then you want to cut as close as you can to the thread in the corner diagonally. Just make sure you don't cut your thread, and then do the same for the other corners. And then right here where it's sort of rounded, you can just cut little slits across. I don't think it's necessary since it's not that curved. And then using a double pointed needle or something that's not too sharp, you want to insert it through the hole and just press along the edges and the corners. Okay, once you have your 2 pieces, you're going to iron it so that you press all the sides and corners down. And then I'm going to leave this because when I sew it together, it's going to sew right over it. You can seam it before you do that if you'd like. You're going to place these 2 together, and then you're going to sew right along the edge as close as you can to the edge, just on the curved part. Okay, so I've sewn my curved edge here. If you flip that around, this would be your right side. Okay, so this one is double lined, and I just wanted to show you how to do that. And this one was just 1 layer of fabric for the tutorial. So I'm just going to pin this around, and then I'm going to hand sew it together. So I'm going to place it in the middle and then push it out to the sides and pin it there. I don't sew often, so I am no expert. I'm just sort of winging this as I go. You can definitely check out all of the great sewing tutorials out there. I'm going to use a different color thread. This one is a lot stronger than the other ones that I have. Tie a couple of knots at the end. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to go under the fabric, and I'm going along right along the edge. So this is the invisible seam. Don't forget to tie a knot at the end of your thread. You can double up if you don't have a strong enough thread. Okay, Okay, so now I'm going to go through this row here. And then I'm going to come back to the edge here. And then just insert through there. And then through the next row, right across. So I'm using these rows as a guide to where I'm stitching. Okay, now back onto the fabric. Okay, now on the other side of your crochet work. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that all the way around my mask. So for this edge, I'm sewing it right in this row right here in the crease. Okay, so right along here. So I'm leaving this last row visible. So I've stitched all the way around, and to finish off, I'm going to go through the fabric and then just wrap the needle with the thread a couple times. Okay, placing your thumb there, you just want to pull it through and then tighten it. And I'm just going to run it through here. So that it's on the inside. Alright, so now we have the mask, and it is lined with cotton. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for future videos. I'll see you next time.